Well, let's get some more on this story because we're joined on the line by Dr Xie Tao, who's a professor at Beijing Foreign Studies University. Professor, thanks for talking to BBC Newsday. Now, just explain to us, why is China concentrating on Europe and on the somewhat troubled Eurozone rather than looking at the lucrative markets of, say, the United States?
Well, I think, the Chinese government is focusing so much attention on Europe right now is because the U.S. market is already getting very weak, and the U.S. dollar is, as everybody knows, is declining its value. Another reason is that the United States, especially Congress, is not so friendly towards Chinese investment in the United States. You look at the numbers so far, Chinese FDI in the United States amounts to only about $5 billion U.S. dollars. That's just a tiny proportion of the total volume of trade between the two countries. So that's why China is shifting its focus over to European Union.
But aren't they concerned about the situation of the euro? We're all watching in anticipation what's happening with Greece. Are China willing to take that risk?
Yeah, I think the Chinese government now is weighing over the two options. Either you continue to invest more in U.S. Treasury bonds, or you shift a little bit from your basket and invest in European Union. And I think now the government says, well, we should invest more in the euro area. After all, euro is a big market, and it's not so much saturated as the U.S. market. And so that's why the Chinese government is providing loan to Spain and to Greece.
And do you think China will then make it easier for companies to get involved in their economy? In the UK, for example, companies have for a long time complained that it's difficult to access that market.
Well, I think the practice here is that we welcome foreign investments, particularly European investments. And I think our top leaders' visits to European Union, I want to send a strong message that first, we have the money and we want to invest overseas. The challenge is that in the U.S., our investment is rejected because of political considerations. But you look at the numbers in Europe, I think Chinese investments in Europe are much more welcome than in the United States. That's why I think in the future, it's not just the UK or German businessmen coming over to China. They are already doing very well. I think the Chinese government wants to have more Chinese company in Europe.
Okay, Dr Xie Tao, we have to leave it there. Professor at Beijing Foreign Studies University.